Alright, here we go with another Hobbit painting tutorial. This one we're going to look at Radagast the Brown. So this is the special limited edition model that comes with the Escape from Goblin Town kit. And like some of my recent tutorials, I'm going to show you how I painted it, and then I'm going to do the time-lapse video and commentate that, and then I'll show you some finished pictures at the very end. So these are the paints basically that I used. I pretty much used all the brown sort of sets from the GW paint set, and then some skin, a little bit of blue for the gem at the end of his staff, and a little bit of green for the leaves. So flesh, just your regular base coat, shade, and then painting up the highlights just with some of the lighter colors. The cloak, so I did this outer cloak with this Mornfang brown look as well. I did the sort of inner stuff there, and his hat and one of his boots. For this Steel Legion one here, I did on this cloak down, or kind of the pants there, and then this cloak that kind of goes over his shoulders. And then for this Dryad bark, it was the beard, the staff, and I believe his pants were that as well, his kind of shorts or spants, if you will. And then the gemstone in there was done with that, and the leaves were done with that. And actually, I think I missed XV88 was that one there, so that was that sort of Dryad. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to the other painting tutorial, or the other part, and come back to this in a second. So I'm starting off with the Dryad bark there, and I'm painting up the wood on the base there, as well as I'm going to paint some of the stuff on the rest of the guy here. So I used as many of the different brown paints as I could for this model, and so yeah, that's just the hair I'm painting up there, base coat, just trying to get a good coverage. As you can see, I started with a brown spray base, and the idea was that any of these base colors would go on very easily, and after I did a wash, you really wouldn't see any of that anyways. So painting up the cloak there as well. Oh, I don't know if I realized I painted that color. Okay, so maybe I might have misled you with some of the other stuff. Anyways, the colors are not set in stone, obviously. So Steel Legion brown for that sort of upper cloak on his shoulders, and just trying to get in between the hair there. And I think, okay, so here we go, Mornfang brown. That's going to be that sleeves there. And let's see, get the other side as well. Yeah, it's always a little bit awkward trying to paint this on that holder that I have, and so it takes a little bit longer. Okay, so doing the hat. This one here should be, was that Mornfang? No, this was one of the other browns. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this is a darker brown. This looks like Rhinox hide. That's what that looks like. Okay, and this is a bit of pure black going on that one boot, his gloves, and I think that's it for the black. Okay, so now I'm doing the flesh base color. So this is the Bugman's Glow, going on all the flesh bits, trying to keep off of the beard. And I actually have to go back and touch up his mustache and his eyebrows because I accidentally painted those flesh color. So not a big deal, but would look a little bit out of place. Those legs I found kind of difficult to get them to look right because there's not a lot of texture on them, and kind of just exposed bits of flesh. Okay, so XV88 for the inside of his man purse there, and well, inside, I mean the inside of the outside. Okay, and then doing the Lorien Forest, I think it is, whatever, the darkest one of the greens for those leaves there, and as well as the ones on the base, the scenic base there. Not a lot of green on it, but enough that it needs to get done. Okay, so now I'm doing Agrax Earthshade Wash on all of those brown bits. And I'll be doing a sepia wash on some of the lighter browns, but doing that on the beard. Let's see what else I'm doing it. get the beard right now. I'll be doing his hat. Yeah, that makes sense. And on some of his pants there. And now I'm doing that flesh shade wash on all his skin. So it's his legs, hands, and face. Making sure I get a nice thick coat on it so that it covers up any of the edges. Now I'm doing the sepia wash on pretty much everything else that's left. So that's the Mornfang Brown and the Steel Legion and the XV88. And the idea is the lighter colors get the lighter wash, and the darker colors get the darker wash. That's all there is to that. Okay, so this is the next one up before Baneblade Brown. I forget what it's called, and that's just painting on all the hairs there. And I'll be doing the same with all the other areas the same color. So the staff is going to get a bit of that as well. And just trying to get as much of that covered. So this is kind of an overbrush that I'm doing on that, and then the pants is kind of painting everything except for the deep shadows. And that's the general concept with layering, is that the medium one ends up being the most surface area covered, and then the highlight is just the edges of everything. Okay, so now I'm doing the highlight, like I just talked about, and I'm just trying to pick up some of the brightest edges, and with the beard it's mostly just doing a sort of an overbrush, and with his pants it'll be just doing the kind of edge highlighting on things. And you can see it just picking those things out, and it goes much, much faster. Okay, this is the next one up from the Mornfang Brown, so that's kind of a reddish brown, and again painting the surfaces on there, trying to avoid any of the recesses. You might be catching the theme on how these layers go on. Nothing too special about it, just got to use a little bit of care. As you can see, I'm using a very small brush, partly because I'm painting these guys all as individuals, and also because the Lord of the Rings models from GW are kind of a true scale model rather than the heroic stuff that the rest of the Warhammer stuff is. Okay, and then just doing the final highlight on those, so just trying to pick out some of the edges. The GW model, or the pictures of the GW one online, have some textures and stuff on some of the trim. I didn't bother with any of that, but you could obviously do that if you had a fine brush and darker color. Just do a crosshatch sort of pattern on those. That would help add a little bit of detail. Okay, and next, doing the final highlight on the flesh. I think this is, or maybe it's just the medium highlight. But experimenting with the position of my lights here, you may notice that there's a bit of an uplight on this now. Trying to figure out what's going to work best with the camera angles so that you can see everything, but I think the picture's coming out pretty clear now, so that's an improvement. And the guy seems to be staying mostly in the middle of the frame. Yeah, so just picking out some of the facial features there. And moving along. So this part of the video, I just noticed, is 13 minutes at 4 times speed, so it gives you an idea that it's about an hour's worth of actual painting time. Now that takes more time in practice because I'm waiting for some things to dry and I'm getting things organized in between shots, but if I was just painting this guy straight, an hour might actually be possible. Okay, so Doombull Brown, I actually could read that one, and that's those going over the Mornfang. No, that's not Mornfang. That's going over the Rhinox hide on those bits there, and it'll go on his hat as well, I believe, and the strap there for his man purse. This clip is pretty long, so this is one of the bigger areas that I have to highlight up. So getting along all those edges there. Yeah, I find these guys, fantasy models tend to paint up a lot faster for me. I don't know if it's just the amount of detail they have is less, or the fact that they're a little bit more forgiving with all the different cloths. and that sort of thing. But I find that they paint way faster than 40K models and sci-fi stuff in general. Maybe that's just my style of painting then that's making it slower. But yeah, these guys paint up pretty quick, and I'm probably going to do the rest of them not quite in this style of tutorial, just do them all as one big batch, or at least a couple batches, smaller batches. So then that's Tuskor Fur, I think it was called. That's just doing the highlights for all of these areas I just did. And the idea is that you, if you've watched any of these tutorials, you don't really need to see me paint every single brush stroke for the rest of the guys in the box set. I think you can, hopefully you can figure it out if I show you just which paints I used and where, and then that way I can get them painted up faster and move on to my next projects, or continue with my next projects. I've already really started them. Okay, so Tolaran Sand going on that XV88 base air area that's been shaded with the sepia wash. And rather than just do a pure overbrush, I'm trying to actually paint those areas. I find an overbrush sometimes gives you rough edges and it makes it look a little bit more like you're dry brushing. I kind of like the smoother look of painting on the actual highlights. It means you may not be quite as accurate with exactly where they all are, but it gives a bit more of a stylized look that I go for. Okay, and then Karnak Stone for the next highlight on that. And that's just a little bit of edge bits there. And some of the pieces down there, yeah, had a bit of one of his cloaks with that. I didn't quite catch that one, but that's the next XV88. I think it's Tau Light Ochre or something like that on the highlights, and you can see those on the painting guide at the beginning there. And if you do notice any errors, just feel free to leave a comment. Try to do my best to keep track of everything. That's Baylor Brown going now for the highlight there. Not a lot of that being used. Thought that said Baneblade Brown, but that probably wasn't. So I find that when I'm putting that one on there, it wasn't going on nice, so I'm going to switch brushes about halfway through here. And I'm not super happy actually with how this cloak turned out. There we go with the bigger brush. I tried overbrushing it with one of the Mournfang brown, sort of reddish browns, to get those patterns coming out like they have on the GW site. It didn't really turn out that well, so I just kind of gave it a wash and called it a day. But you may have better time experimenting, or if you want to spend more time on this model, that might be an option for you. And Baneblade Brown. Yeah, so I should have done this all the same time as I did the beard, because that's actually the same color. And yeah, like I said, the reason it doesn't look like the same color is because I used the sepia wash over it, and you'll see that after this stage. Well, not this stage, maybe the next one. And I'm also doing the staff there and kind of doing a bit of an overbrush. Okay, so now this is Doombull Brown, trying to do the edges there, and I'm just trying to pick them out, kind of overbrushing, and it's just not coming out the way I want it to, but I end up spending a bit more time on it anyways. And yeah, it just doesn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And here we go with the sepia wash, just to kind of blend that in a bit and pull out some of those highlights using the wash rather than a highlight, and I think I'm okay with that. Okay, and my next color is going to be Lorien Forest. Okay, so this is just the leaves. I'm painting most of the surface on them, and I've got to do the ones around the other side, and then in his little pouch there. There we go. Just trying to get all the flat surfaces. And then I'm going to go with the Draken Green, or whatever that was. Just disappeared real fast. And I'm just painting the edges of all those leaves just to help make them come out a little bit more. And the same with those ones in there. Okay, and now I'm doing gray. That was Eshin Gray I'm just painting on some highlights on those hand gloves type things. I think I did it off camera, but that little gopher, or not gopher, the hedgehog was done with the same Baneblade brown sort of look. This one here I'm doing McCraig blue for the gem at the end, Atlantic, or whatever it is, blue. Just kind of trying to give it a bit of a look there. So here's the finished model, some of the pictures of Radagast from different angles. As you can see, some different stuff there. That was that XV88 color as well, which is kind of in there. And so basically what I did is I tried to find different browns to do the different areas, and then tried to get some of the details out just by kind of doing some overbrushing techniques there and washes. So a neat little model, kind of an awkward looking pose, I think, but gives a bit of the idea of this character. And I forgot to do the bird poop on his face, but I'm sure you could do that if you so chose. And I added a little bit of texture to the base there, otherwise that's the way the base comes. And a bit of overhead shots. Yeah, neat little model. Cool that they added that in for the limited edition, and hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.